You're watching Bloomberg Law. I'm Pacchia. As many of you may know, we've been paying close attention to the student debt crisis with a particular focus on legal education over the last year or so. The numbers are increasingly bleak. The total debt burden for Americans is more than $1 trillion related to educational loans. Default rates are climbing, and in combination with rising unemployment, falling salaries and wages, this all adds up for a rather dire picture. These statistics are particularly grim once reminded that student debt is one of the few types of financial obligations that cannot be discharged in bankruptcy. In essence, you either pay off your student loans or live with them for the rest of your life. As the student debt crisis worsens, some are beginning to say that we need to amend the bankruptcy code to allow individuals to discharge or get rid of their student loans when they simply cannot find a way to repay them. My guest today, Congressman Steve Cohen, is sponsoring a bill to do just that. He's joining us from Washington, D.C. Welcome, sir. Thanks so much for your time today.
Oh, you're welcome. Nice to be with you.
So the bill was introduced last year. It's called the Private Student Loan Bankruptcy Fairness Act. Let's unpack this proposal. Just how is this going to work?
Well, I put the proposal in the previous Congress as well, as did Senator Durbin of Illinois. And the fact is, you cannot discharge a private student loan, but you could before 2005. And the amount of student debt has just exploded. For-profit colleges have exploded, and they oftentimes encourage young people to take out these loans so that they can have some resources to fund them. And the interest rates are high. Opportunities to benefit from those student loans, especially from some of the private schools who are being trained for a particular job, have become less and less as jobs have decreased and opportunity is less. So it's a situation we think needs relief. We don't see any reason why private student loans should be not dischargeable and be treated in a different way than any other kind of debt. It was obviously special interest legislation in 2005, and what was a special interest bill that the credit card industry and others in the financial markets brought to Congress, lobbied Congress, paid Congress, and got Congress to pass their bill.
Considering how much worse the statistics have gotten in the past 12 months, I wonder why we're just looking at private student debt here. The vast majority, as I'm sure you know, of student debt is originated and backed by the federal government. So just how far does providing relief for private loans go towards solving the broader problem facing so many people in this country today?
Well, in dealing with the public loans, the federal government does have and much lower interest rates, number one, so it's not as much of a problem and a burden. Number two, the federal government will work on forbearance and extending the life of the loan and working with the student to try to get them an opportunity to get their footing and pay it back. And of course, that debt is public debt, and so there's not a profit margin in it, and there's a lot of differences in the way that the public debts and the private loans are made. In the public loan situation, there are not practices of seeking out students who might be considered subprime and trying to get them into situations they're not even aware at and at interest rates that are exorbitant.
Would you support any proposals to make public loans dischargeable in bankruptcy should you find consensus among your colleagues?
If there's consensus among my colleagues, that certainly would happen, and I would not object to that. But at the same time, there's never been a situation. The private loans were subject to discharge prior to 2005, and there wasn't a problem with students taking advantage of the situation and just tons of people coming, like allegedly with voter IDs, allegedly. There's been no problem with that either, and a need to change the law. It was a problem, a solution looking for a problem. Public student loan has never been dischargeable, and it has not created the problem because the rates are different. The federal government deals different with the with forbearance and working with the borrower to see that they have opportunities to pay it back in a fair manner.
Congressman, I'm curious to see where your colleagues are on talking about the entire student debt problem. $1 trillion is an awful lot of money, even by Washington, D.C. standards. I would imagine it gets a lot of attention. Do they see a point where the debt crisis among student loans puts attention on the social fabric in this country? Are we reaching that point yet?
I think we have reached that point. I think it's the mortgage crisis, the housing crisis was the first one. I think this is another one coming. It's been written about, and oftentimes it has to be written about or spoken about in the media to get the attention of the people in Congress. I think certainly they saw it on the increase in the interest rates on student loans, that were keeping it in the 3% range, and the Republicans came around on that and saw the necessity to do that. But I think there's going to take a large movement. And the problem is young people aren't well organized politically. They don't vote as much as they should, and they don't have as good a political strength as might the individuals who have mortgages on their houses and the mortgage industry and the home building industry and all that. They certainly have rightly complained and justifiably on how we had to deal with the mortgage crisis, even though we haven't done as much as we could. The students just aren't organized, but it's going to be a great crisis to the future of the middle class. And that's what this coming election is going to be about, is the middle class. And do we have a middle class, or do we have an upper 2% and a lot of poverty, highest poverty since the 60s now in America, and a diminishing middle class who can't purchase goods which are necessary to really get us out of this Bush recession?
Congressman, you bring up a really interesting point. Generally speaking, debtors, whether they be homeowners or burdened by student debt, don't have a lobby. Lenders do. Do students and people with student loans need a lobby in Washington, D.C. to effectively legislate ways out of this problem?
I think it would certainly help. It's just reality. There's a lot of students. They are the future of America, and they need to have, if they were free of this debt, they'd have more opportunity to spend on goods and services that could provide jobs in the economy. But there is the reality that the lenders have got a lobby, and they work particular committees stronger than they might others. They concentrate those committees, and it can make a difference. This is not the College of Cardinals, and I'm not sure if the College of Cardinals is even what it used to be.
As we mentioned before, the numbers have shifted dramatically over the past 12 months. Do you think this shift is sufficient to increase the chances of the bill passing Congress this year?
No, it's not. When I was a ranking member on Commercial and Administrative Law and Judiciary Committee, I had a hearing on this issue. The present Republican leadership is not interested in having a hearing or a vote on the bill, and you have to have a hearing first. They're not interested in a hearing. They're not interested in a vote because they're more concerned about the lenders than they are the borrowers. And I think that's true in almost every instance, and that's one of the situations you see the issues that are going to be in November. Where's your interest? Who's your daddy?
In the meantime, what should students and recent grads be doing in order to lighten their debt loads?
Well, to lighten their debt loads, I guess they need to find a job, to find finances to pay back their debt, win the lottery. I'm not sure. There's not too many options really out there for young people. The job market's the worst it's ever been for college graduates. It's the worst it's ever been for young people, and particularly if you're a person of color. If you're a minority, the job market is even worse. And it's very, very bad. My community of Memphis, large African-American community, young people are not finding jobs and opportunity. And so they get out and all they've got is debt. I think what they need to do in the long run, in the short run and the long run, but this is to get registered, to vote, and to make their voices known at the ballot box and to make this an issue. But if they get organized, they can make a difference. And it's one of the issues that the Occupy movement took up as an issue of their own. This is a major concern to a lot of people in the Occupy movement. It does have an effect on some politicians, but not too many in the majority party in the House.
Well, Congressman Steve Cohen, I want to thank you for bringing us up to speed on what's happening.
You're welcome. It's been nice to be on Bloomberg.
If you'd like to learn more about the cases and issues we just discussed, be sure to check out our offerings on BloombergLaw.com and also on the Bloomberg Terminal. You can see more of our videos on YouTube and follow our updates on Twitter. I'm Pacchia. Thanks for watching.